Analyze definition. To examine something in detail to understand it better or draw conclusions. Simplified. Break down a topic or problem into smaller parts to understand it fully. Examples. The teacher asked the students to analyze the poem's themes. In the lab, we had to analyze the chemical reaction to find the error. She wanted to analyze the report before making a decision. Synthesize definition. To combine multiple elements to form a coherent whole. Simplified. Put different ideas or parts together to create something new. Examples. After reading several studies, the student was able to synthesize a new theory. The professor asked us to synthesize the information from various sources. In the final paper, you need to synthesize the data from your research. Infer definition. To deduce or conclude information from evidence rather than explicit statements. Simplified. Use hints or clues to figure something out without being directly told. Examples. Based on his tone, I could infer that he was upset. The detective was able to infer the suspect's location from the clues. From her silence, I inferred that she didn't want to talk about it. Contradict definition. To assert the opposite of a statement made by someone else. Simplified. To disagree or say the opposite of what someone else said. Examples. His actions contradict his earlier statements. The findings of this study contradict the previous research. She contradicted herself during the argument. Corroborate definition. To provide evidence or information that supports a claim or statement. Simplified. Back up or confirm what someone said. Examples. The witness's testimony helped to corroborate the suspect's alibi. The new data corroborates the scientist's hypothesis. Can anyone corroborate your version of the story? Discrepancy definition. A difference or inconsistency between two or more facts. Simplified. When two things don't match up or agree. Examples. There was a discrepancy between the two reports. The police noticed a discrepancy in his story. We need to resolve the discrepancy in these numbers. Ambiguous definition. Open to more than one interpretation, not having one obvious meaning. Simplified. Unclear or having multiple possible meanings. Examples. The directions were ambiguous, leaving us confused. Her answer was ambiguous, and I didn't know what she meant. The word has an ambiguous meaning in this context. Imply definition. To suggest or indicate something without stating it outright. Simplified. Hint at something without directly saying it. Examples. His tone seemed to imply that I was in trouble. The advertisement implies that their product is the best. The teacher's comment implied that we need to work harder. Convey definition. To communicate or express something, either directly or indirectly. Simplified. To get an idea or feeling across to someone. Examples. The writer uses symbolism to convey deep emotions. Her smile conveyed her happiness. It's important to convey your ideas clearly in an essay. Coherent definition. Logical and consistent. Forming a unified whole. Simplified. Makes sense and flows well together. Examples. The argument in his essay is coherent and easy to follow. She gave a coherent explanation of the theory. His thoughts were clear and coherent during the presentation. Hypothesis definition. A proposed explanation made on the basis of limited evidence as a starting point for further investigation. Simplified. An educated guess that you test through study and experiments. Examples. The scientist developed a hypothesis to explain the strange behavior. My hypothesis was proven correct after several experiments. We formed a hypothesis based on the initial data. Context definition. The circumstances or settings surrounding an event, statement, or idea. Simplified. The background or environment in which something occurs. Examples. To understand the novel, you need to know its historical context. Her statement was taken out of context, leading to misunderstanding. The word has a different meaning depending on the context. Justify definition. To provide reasons or explanations for something to prove it is right or reasonable. Simplified. Give good reasons to support or explain something. Examples. The student tried to justify why he turned in the assignment late. The lawyer's job is to justify her client's actions in court. Can you justify spending so much money on that project? Refute definition. To disprove or argue against a statement or theory. Simplified, show that something is wrong or incorrect. Examples. The scientist presented evidence to refute the claim. He was quick to refute the accusation. The lawyer tried to refute the witness's testimony. Proponent definition, a person who advocates for or supports a cause or idea. Simplified, someone who is in favor of something. Examples. She's a strong proponent of renewable energy. As a proponent of free education, he actively campaigns for better schools. The proponents of the bill argue that it will benefit society. Contradiction definition, a situation where two or more things are in conflict or mutually oppose each other. Simplified, when two things can't both be true at the same time. Examples. There's a clear contradiction between his words and actions. The evidence presents a contradiction to her testimony. We need to resolve the contradiction in these two theories. Qualify definition, to make a statement less absolute or to modify its meaning. Simplified, add conditions or limits to something said. Examples. The speaker had to qualify a statement after being challenged. You need to qualify your argument with evidence. She qualified her praise by adding that there was room for improvement. Assert definition, to state or express something confidently and forcefully. Simplified, to say something with conviction. Examples. He asserted that he was innocent. The author asserts that climate change is a real threat. She asserted her right to speak during the meeting. Exemplify definition, to be a typical example of something. Simplified, to show by example. Examples. Her behavior exemplifies kindness and generosity. This artwork exemplifies the style of the Renaissance. His hard work exemplifies what we want in our employees. Correlate definition, to have a mutual relationship or connection, where one thing affects or depends on another. Simplified, when two things are related or connected in some way. Examples. Studies show that exercise and health are highly correlated. A high level of stress tends to correlate with a lack of sleep. The data correlates closely with the predictions. Reiterate definition, to say something again or a number of times, typically for emphasis or clarity. Simplified, repeat something to make sure it's understood. Examples. The teacher had to reiterate the instructions for the assignment. He reiterated his concern for safety during the meeting. She constantly reiterates that the rules must be followed. Evaluate definition, to judge or determine the significance, worth, or quality of something. Simplified, to carefully examine and form an opinion about something. Examples. We need to evaluate the results of the experiment. The committee will evaluate the candidates based on their experience. She took a moment to evaluate the situation before making a decision. Articulate definition, able to express ideas clearly and effectively in speech or writing. Simplified, speaking or writing in a way that is easy to understand. Examples. He was able to articulate his thoughts during the debate. The teacher wants students to articulate their ideas in essays. She is known for being an articulate and persuasive speaker. Nuance definition, a subtle or slight difference in meaning, expression, or tone. Simplified, a small detail that makes something slightly different or more complex. Examples. The nuances in her performance made the character come to life. There is a slight nuance in the way these words are used. His argument was strong, but it lacked the nuance of a well-developed thesis. Substantiate definition, to provide evidence to support or prove the truth of something. Simplified, prove that something is true by providing evidence. Examples. The lawyer worked to substantiate her client's claims with new evidence. Can you substantiate your argument with more facts? The report was substantiated by data from multiple sources. Discern definition, to recognize or identify something with careful thought or effort. Simplified, notice or understand something that is not immediately obvious. Examples. It was difficult to discern any changes in his behavior. She could discern a faint smell of smoke in the air. He tried to discern the truth from the conflicting reports. Mitigate definition, to make something less severe, serious, or painful. Simplified, to lessen the impact or severity of something. Examples. The government introduced measures to mitigate the effects of the recession. She took steps to mitigate the risk of infection. The new law aims to mitigate climate change. Concede definition, To admit something is true after first denying or resisting it. Simplified. To give in or accept that something is right after initially disagreeing. Examples. After hours of debate, he finally conceded that he was wrong. She refused to concede defeat even when the odds were against her. The candidate conceded the election after the final votes were counted. Ambivalence definition. Mixed feelings or contradictory attitudes toward something or someone. Simplified. Having both positive and negative feelings about something. Examples. He felt ambivalence about moving to a new city. The committee's ambivalence on the issue led to no decision being made. Her ambivalence toward the project made it difficult to move forward. Emphasize definition. To give special importance or prominence to something in speaking or writing. Simplified. Highlight or stress something as important. Examples. The coach emphasized the need for teamwork during practice. The report emphasized the dangers of climate change. She emphasized her main points, with clear examples. Revise definition. To reconsider or alter something in the light of new evidence or perspectives. Simplified. To improve or change something by making updates or corrections. Examples. After receiving feedback, he decided to revise his essay. The company is planning to revise its hiring process. I need to revise my notes before the final exam. Bias definition. A tendency to favor one thing, person, or group over another, often in an unfair way. Simplified. A preference for or against something that is not based on fair judgment. Examples. The news report showed clear bias in favor of one political party. His decision was affected by his personal bias. It's important to recognize and avoid bias in research. Coherent definition. Logical and well-organized. Easy to understand. Simplified. Makes sense and is connected in a clear way. Examples. Her argument was coherent and convincing. The speech was well-structured and coherent. A coherent plan will help us succeed. Impartial definition. Treating all parties equally, without bias. Simplified. Fair and not favoring one side over the other. Examples. The judge must remain impartial during the trial. Her decision was impartial, considering all the facts. We need an impartial person to mediate the dispute. Assume definition. To accept something as true without proof. Simplified. To take something for granted without evidence. Examples. I assumed she knew what I was talking about. He made the mistake of assuming that everyone agreed with him. Let's not assume anything until we have all the facts. Comprehensive definition. Covering or including everything. Thorough. Simplified. Complete and includes all important details. Examples. The test was comprehensive, covering everything we've learned this semester. She wrote a comprehensive guide to the city's best restaurants. His research is very comprehensive on the topic of renewable energy. Depict definition. To show or represent something through art, writing, or speech. Simplified. Describe or show something in detail. Examples. The movie depicts life in rural America during the 1930s. His painting depicts a peaceful landscape. The article depicts the struggles of living in a war zone. Exacerbate definition. To make a problem, situation, or feeling worse. Simplified. To worsen something that is already bad. Examples. His refusal to apologize only exacerbated the situation. The lack of rain exacerbated the drought. The argument exacerbated their already strained relationship. Inevitable definition. Certain to happen, unavoidable. Simplified. Something that is bound to happen and can't be stopped. Examples. The company's bankruptcy seemed inevitable after months of financial struggle. It's inevitable that technology will continue to advance rapidly. Change is inevitable in any growing industry. Implement definition. To put a plan or decision into effect. Simplified. To carry out or begin using something. Examples. The company plans to implement new safety measures. We need to implement the new system by the end of the month. The school implemented a new policy to improve attendance. Intrinsic definition. Belonging naturally, essential or inherent to something. Simplified. Something that is a natural part of something else. Examples. Curiosity is intrinsic to human nature. The beauty of the painting lies in its intrinsic simplicity. Some things have intrinsic value beyond their monetary worth. Foster definition, to encourage the development or growth of something. Simplified, to help something grow or succeed. Examples. The program aims to foster creativity in young students. A supportive environment can foster learning. We need to foster better communication between teams. Plausible definition, seemingly reasonable or probable. Simplified, something that could reasonably be true or likely. Examples. His explanation sounded plausible, but I wasn't convinced. The theory seems plausible, but it needs more evidence. It's plausible that she missed the meeting due to traffic. Constrained definition, to limit or restrict someone or something. Simplified, to stop or restrict something from happening freely. Examples. The budget constrains our ability to hire more staff. His injury constrained his ability to play sports. The rules constrain what we can do in this situation. Advocate definition, to support or argue for a cause or policy. Simplified, to actively support or speak on behalf of something. Examples. She is an advocate for environmental protection. The group advocates for better working conditions. He advocated for changes in the school's curriculum. Perception definition, the way in which something is regarded, understood, or interpreted. Simplified, how something is seen or understood by someone. Examples. Her perception of the event was different from mine. Public perception of the issue has shifted over time. His perception of reality was clouded by his emotions. Vindicate definition, to clear someone of blame or suspicion. Simplified, to prove that someone is right or not guilty after being blamed. Examples. The new evidence helped to vindicate the accused man. She felt vindicated when her theory was proven correct. The court ruling vindicated their position on the matter. Contend definition, to argue or assert something in a debate or conflict. Simplified, to state your position or belief firmly. Examples. The lawyer contended that his client was innocent. She contended that the policy would have negative effects. The two teams will contend for the championship title. Discredit definition, to harm someone's reputation or cause something to seem untrustworthy. Simplified, to cast doubt on someone's honesty or reliability. Examples. The scandal discredited the politician in the public's eyes. He tried to discredit his opponent's argument. The findings were discredited due to lack of proper research. Ambiguous definition, open to more than one interpretation, unclear or inexact. Simplified, something that has multiple possible meanings or is not clear. Examples. The instructions were ambiguous, leaving the students confused. Her response was ambiguous, making it hard to know what she meant. The movie's ending was intentionally ambiguous. Imminent definition, about to happen, impending. Simplified, something that is coming very soon. Examples. The storm's arrival was imminent. They were warned about the imminent danger of the collapse. A decision is imminent in the ongoing case. Benevolent definition, well-meaning and kindly. Simplified, someone who is kind and wants to help others. Examples. The organization is known for its benevolent work. He was a benevolent leader who always cared for his people. Her benevolent actions earned her great respect. Cynical definition, believing that people are motivated by self-interest, distrustful of human sincerity or integrity. Simplified, distrusting others' motives, thinking people are only out for themselves. Examples. He had a cynical view of politics, believing all politicians were corrupt. Her cynical remarks made everyone uncomfortable. The public has become cynical about promises made by the government. Impartial definition, treating all rivals or disputants equally, fair and just. Simplified, not favoring one side over the other, being completely fair. Examples. The judge remained impartial throughout the trial. We need an impartial observer to settle the dispute. His decision was impartial and based on the evidence. Dissent definition, the expression or holding of opinions that differ from those previously, commonly, or officially held. Simplified, to disagree with a commonly held opinion or decision. Examples. There was dissent among the committee members about the new policy. He expressed his dissent by voting against the proposal. The government moved quickly to suppress any dissent. Mundane definition, lacking interest or excitement. Dull. Simplified. Ordinary or everyday, often in a boring way. Examples. Her job involved a lot of mundane tasks like filing paperwork. He was tired of the mundane routine and wanted more excitement in life. The movie focused on the mundane aspects of everyday life. Prosaic definition, having the style or diction of prose, lacking poetic beauty. Simplified, plain or lacking in creativity or imagination. Examples. The writing style was prosaic and failed to capture the reader's attention. He gave a prosaic speech that didn't inspire the audience. The prosaic details of the report were necessary, but not exciting. Apathetic definition, showing or feeling no interest, enthusiasm, or concern. Simplified, not caring about things or having no interest in them. Examples. The students were apathetic about the upcoming election. He seemed apathetic toward his schoolwork, never making an effort. She was apathetic to the news, showing no emotion at all. Ephemeral definition, lasting for a very short time. Simplified, something that doesn't last long. Examples. The beauty of the sunset was ephemeral, fading within minutes. His fame was ephemeral, lasting only a few months. The flowers had an ephemeral bloom that lasted only a day. Clarity definition, the quality of being clear, in particular. Simplified, when something is easy to understand or see. Examples. The teacher explained the concept with clarity. The clarity of the instructions helped everyone understand the task. His writing lacks clarity, making it hard to follow. Resilient definition, able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions. Simplified, being strong and able to bounce back from tough situations. Examples. The community was resilient in the face of disaster. Children are often very resilient to changes in their environment. She remained resilient despite the many challenges she faced. Compelling definition, evoking interest, attention, or admiration in a powerfully irresistible way. Simplified, something that grabs and holds your attention. Examples. The movie had a compelling plot that kept us engaged from start to finish. His argument was so compelling that no one could disagree. The book offers a compelling case for climate action. Endorse definition, to declare one's public approval or support of something. Simplified, to publicly say that you support something. Examples. The senator decided to endorse the new education reform. Several celebrities have endorsed the brand. She refused to endorse the controversial decision. Pragmatic definition, dealing with things sensibly and realistically in a way that is based on practical rather than theoretical considerations. Simplified, focusing on practical solutions rather than ideas or theories. Examples. He took a pragmatic approach to solving the problem. We need pragmatic solutions to deal with the economic crisis. Her pragmatic mindset helped the team meet their goals on time. Inherent definition, existing in something as a permanent, essential, or characteristic attribute. Simplified, something that is a natural part of something else. Examples. The risks are inherent in any business venture. There's an inherent flaw in the design that needs to be addressed. Curiosity is an inherent trait in young children. Notion definition, a conception of or belief about something. Simplified, an idea or belief about something. Examples. She had a notion that hard work always pays off. His notions about politics are very traditional. The idea challenges the common notion that more is always better. Facilitate definition, to make an action or process easier. Simplified, to help make something happen more smoothly or easily. Examples. The new software will facilitate communication between departments. The teacher's role is to facilitate learning, not just deliver information. The changes in the schedule should facilitate more productive meetings. Hypothetical definition, based on or serving as a hypothesis, not real, imagined for the sake of argument. Simplified, something that is imagined or supposed but not real. Examples. Let's consider a hypothetical scenario where everyone works from home. The hypothetical situation helped us think through potential solutions. Her argument was based on a hypothetical situation, not reality. Provoke definition, to stimulate or give rise to a reaction or emotion, typically a strong or unwelcome one, in someone. Simplified, to cause someone to feel something, often anger or excitement. Examples: his comments were intended to provoke a reaction from the audience. The movie is designed to provoke thought about social issues. She didn't mean to provoke him, but her words upset him. Viable definition: capable of working successfully, feasible. Simplified, something that can be done or achieved. Examples: the project is not financially viable without additional funding. We need to find a viable solution to this problem. The company is exploring viable alternatives to plastic packaging. Disparage definition: to regard or represent as being of little worth, belittle. Simplified, to talk about something in a way that makes it seem less important or valuable. Examples: he made remarks that disparaged the hard work of his team. The article disparages the achievements of the politician. She refused to let others disparage her ideas. Assertive definition: having or showing a confident and forceful personality. Simplified, being confident and willing to stand up for yourself or your opinions. Examples: she is always assertive when it comes to her rights. His assertive attitude helped him succeed in the negotiation. The company is looking for employees who are confident and assertive. Exemplary definition: serving as a desirable model, representing the best of its kind. Simplified, being the best or an ideal example of something. Examples: the student's exemplary performance earned her the top award. He gave an exemplary presentation that impressed everyone. Her exemplary behavior set a standard for others to follow. Deferential definition: showing respect or submission to someone in authority. Simplified, being respectful or giving in to someone else's opinion or wishes. Examples: the employee was deferential toward his boss during the meeting. She gave a deferential nod to her elders as a sign of respect. He listened deferentially to the professor's advice. Complacent definition: showing smug or uncritical satisfaction with oneself or one's achievements. Simplified, being too satisfied with yourself, often leading to laziness or a lack of improvement. Examples: after the first success, the team became complacent and stopped pushing for better results. It's important not to be complacent after just one victory. The company's complacent attitude led to a decline in quality. Detrimental definition: tending to cause harm. Simplified, something that causes damage or has a negative effect. Examples: the lack of sleep was detrimental to her health. Smoking has a detrimental effect on your lungs. The new policy may be detrimental to small businesses. Alleviate definition: to make less severe. Simplified, to reduce the pain, difficulty, or intensity of something. Examples: the medication helped to alleviate her pain. They are working to alleviate the effects of poverty in the community. He took measures to alleviate the stress caused by the project. Elucidate definition: to make clear, explain. Simplified, to clarify or make something easier to understand. Examples: the professor used examples to elucidate the complex theory. His explanation helped to elucidate the confusing details. She asked the teacher to elucidate the assignment instructions. Emulate definition: to match or surpass, typically by imitation. Simplified, to try to be like someone or something you admire. Examples: she tried to emulate her father's success in business. Young athletes often emulate their favorite sports stars. He hoped to emulate the achievements of his mentor. Scrutiny definition: critical observation or examination. Simplified, careful and detailed examination or observation. Examples: the proposal was under close scrutiny by the committee. The company's finances are subject to public scrutiny. His actions were met with scrutiny by the media. Convoluted definition: extremely complex and difficult to follow. Simplified, complicated and hard to understand. Examples: the plot of the movie was so convoluted that I couldn't follow it. His argument was convoluted and filled with unnecessary details. The instructions were too convoluted for the average user to understand. Malleable definition: easily influenced or shaped. Simplified, able to be shaped or changed easily. Examples: The metal is malleable when heated and can be formed into various shapes. Children are often more malleable and open to new ideas than adults. The clay was soft and malleable, perfect for sculpting. Auspicious definition: conducive to success, favorable. Simplified: indicating a good chance of success or good fortune. Examples: the sunny weather was an auspicious sign for the outdoor wedding. Their partnership began on an auspicious note, with quick success. The new project had an auspicious start with positive feedback from clients. Perplexed definition: to cause someone to feel completely baffled or confused. Simplified: to confuse someone, making them unable to understand something. Examples: the complex math problem perplexed the students. Her strange behavior perplexed her friends. The sudden change in plans perplexed everyone involved. Ambivalent definition: having mixed feelings or contradictory ideas about something or someone. Simplified: feeling uncertain or having both positive and negative feelings about something. Examples: she felt ambivalent about leaving her hometown. His ambivalent attitude toward the project made it hard to move forward. The voters were ambivalent about the new policy, unsure if it was good or bad. Aesthetic definition: concerned with beauty or the appreciation of beauty. Simplified: related to how something looks, especially in terms of beauty or art. Examples: the building's design is known for its unique aesthetic appeal. Her room had a minimalist aesthetic with clean lines and neutral colors. The artist's work focuses on the aesthetic qualities of nature. Elicit definition: to evoke or draw out a response, answer, or fact from someone. Simplified: to get a reaction or response from someone. Examples: the teacher tried to elicit answers from the students. Her speech elicited strong emotions from the audience. The investigator asked questions to elicit more information. Obscure definition: not clearly understood or expressed, hard to understand. Simplified: difficult to see, understand, or know. Examples: the meaning of the poem was obscure to many readers. The details of the contract were intentionally obscure. His reference to an obscure event confused the audience. Concede definition: to admit that something is true or valid after first denying it. Simplified: to give in and admit that you were wrong. Examples: after much debate, he finally conceded that he made a mistake. The candidate conceded defeat after the votes were counted. She refused to concede the argument until presented with evidence. Subsequent definition: coming after something in time, following. Simplified: happening or coming after something else. Examples: the storm and its subsequent flooding caused significant damage. Subsequent investigations revealed new evidence in the case. The company faced subsequent financial losses after the initial failure. Erroneous definition: wrong or incorrect. Simplified: full of errors or mistakes. Examples: the article was full of erroneous information. His erroneous assumption led to confusion. She quickly corrected the erroneous calculations in the report. Facilitate definition: to make an action or process easier. Simplified: to help something happen more smoothly or easily. Examples: the new software will facilitate faster communication between departments. The teacher's role is to facilitate group discussions in class. This tool will facilitate the organization of your notes. Reverence definition: deep respect for someone or something. Simplified: feeling or showing great admiration or respect. Examples: the students showed reverence for their teacher during the ceremony. He spoke with reverence about his late mentor. The painting was treated with reverence, as it was a national treasure. Compromise definition: an agreement or a settlement of a dispute where both sides give up something. Simplified: a middle ground where both parties give something up to agree. Examples: the two countries reached a compromise after months of negotiations. In any relationship, both parties must be willing to compromise. They came to a compromise that benefited both sides. Diligent definition: showing care and effort in your work or duties. Simplified: working hard and putting effort into doing something well. Examples: she is a diligent student who always completes her assignments on time. The team was diligent in their preparation for the project. His diligent efforts led to significant improvements in the company's performance. Implicate definition, to show that someone is involved in a crime or something bad. Simplified, to suggest that someone is involved in something wrong. Examples: the evidence implicated him in the robbery. She was implicated in the scandal, even though she denied any involvement. The report implicated several employees in the financial misconduct. Prohibit definition, to formally forbid something by law, rule, or other authority. Simplified, to prevent or stop someone from doing something. Examples: smoking is prohibited in all public places. The new law will prohibit the use of plastic bags in the city. The school prohibits students from using cell phones during class. Diminish definition, to make or become less. Simplified, to reduce or make something seem smaller or less important. Examples: the pain diminished after taking the medication. Her influence in the company has diminished over the years. The importance of the discovery should not be diminished by critics. Ambiguous definition, open to more than one interpretation, unclear or uncertain. Simplified, something that can be understood in more than one way. Examples: the instructions were ambiguous, leaving the students confused. His response was ambiguous, making it hard to know what he really meant. The contract's wording was ambiguous, leading to multiple interpretations. Exacerbate definition, to make a problem, bad situation, or negative feeling worse. Simplified, to make something that is already bad even worse. Examples: his rude comments only exacerbated the situation. The lack of sleep exacerbated her illness. The conflict was exacerbated by the lack of communication between the parties.